We've got chapter 1184 of One Piece, and I'm really loving this flashback. I was honestly kind of hating on it last chapter, but somehow Oda finds a way to always make me care about this shit. Last chapter, I'm roasting the king, calling him a bum, and this chapter, he's turned it around. I care about him now. Oda has this superpower where he can make me care about a character in literally one chapter. This chapter is a little bit different than the leaks. I don't know what the fuck the leakers were reading. I think they were reading Two Piece, but honestly, this chapter's better. We're learning about why Brook loves the kingdom, why he's so attached to the king in this chapter. We're also learning about how the king met Candel. I think Candel is a fucking plant from the world government. And we're also seeing how Gunko develops in this chapter. We're going forward in time and we're going back in time. So let's get straight into this chapter, starting with the title, Only Bones Get Left Behind. This is referring to a little song that Brook was singing in the chapter. I think this is just talking about Brook. I mean, when Brook dies, he's literally just bones. But the cover request is Brook getting electrocuted by jellyfish at the beach. And all of these jellyfish have emu eyes. I don't know if that's because we're in the, Brook flashback, and in the Brook flashback, Emu's going to be taking Gunko. Is it because Emu was bodying Brook in the current day in Elbaf? But starting out the chapter, we are seeing that we have gone 7 years into the future, and we can see Gunko at age 14. So the narrator box is talking about the Princess of Vesperia, Shuri. She's turned 14. She's getting more beautiful. All of these princes are wanting her hand in marriage, but we can see that Gunko is only interested in strong men that can play music, aka Brook. I'm not sure if this is Gunko's current age, like in present day. Is she 14, but she can't age anymore because of the pact from Emu? Gunko has the long hair that we saw when Emu took over Gunko's body. So I don't know if the short hair is Emu's preference and she makes Gunko like cut her hair. And then when Emu takes over, that's like Gunko's true long hair, because I don't know, Gunko looks very similar to present day. It would be kind of weird for Oda to make her 14. And even though like she's 70, 80, 90, whatever the fuck, because of the age difference, but I just would really hate if Oda keeps her 14. But we can see Brook and Gunko are walking together, and Brook goes, I hear you thrashed all of your suitors, Princess Shuri. And Shuri goes, yep, you like strong women, right, Brook? Don't you think I've grown stronger, not to mention cuter? And Brook says, you certainly have. And then Shuri goes, and I bet someday my boobs will be big enough to pop right out too. Someone needs to check Oda's hard drive. This is a 14-year-old. What the fuck are we doing, Oda? Brook curves that shit. Thank you, Brook, for curving that. He says, don't say that. It's unladylike. And Gunko said, seriously, you sound like my dad. I don't know why Oda's doing this. This is why I think Gunko might be 14 in the present day, because Oda's just weird like that. Hopefully Gunko aged 4 more years and turned 18, and then she turned into her immortal, non-aging self. Like, is that so hard to do? Then right after that, after Brook curves Gunko, he goes to this random lady and he's like, oh, let me see your panties. And Gunko throwing a sword at him. So we can see Brook is still a gooner, but he at least has fucking morals, and he at least has, an age limit. Thank you. But then we can see Brook sing a little song for Gunko about when you're dead, you're only going to be bones. And Gunko's loving this shit. I don't know how this is attractive. How is this type of song attractive? But Gunko says, I love your songs, Brook. And Brook says, His Majesty told me the same thing. And Gunko says, you really admire my dad, don't you, Brook? My mom too. And Brook says, I guess he was my benefactor. If I hadn't crossed paths with your father, by now only my bones would be left behind. So then we go back to the past when Brook was 11 years old, and we can see Brook is looking through the window of like this music store or this, music academy. We can see Brook watching the kids as they practice with their instruments, and we can see that he wants to be just like them. But we can see he's getting chased out of town because he's, dirty. He's a rat. They say that he smells. He's a stain on the country. It's just bullshit. We can see Brook in the outskirts of the village in the junkyard, and he's singing to himself. He sings, the king's bad. Yeah, it's the king's bad. One day I'll play real music, the best you ever had. My mommy, my daddy, my little brother too, with empty bellies rumbling, they had no food to chew. I don't know why I'm even alive, just crunching on wart frogs to survive. The king's bad. Yeah, it's the king's bad. So Brook is blaming his situation on the current king of the kingdom, and it's not Princess Reuven or Reuven. We're not seeing this current king, so I wonder what his deal is, but Brook is essentially saying it's all the king's fault that he's poor, and he's talking about his mom, his dad, and apparently Brook has a little brother. I don't know who the fuck this little brother could be, considering they would be like 90 years old at this point, but that's really interesting. That could have major implications. I mean, Brook has a brother, and it's a little brother, and Brook is 11 at this point, so, there could be a 10-year difference if he was just born or something, so he could be 80 years old, which is, I think, around Garp's age. But we can see Prince Reuven approaching. He says, those are some rotten lyrics. Did you write them yourself? He says, is that thing? And Brook says, yep, it's my violin. Reuven says, that's supposed to be a violin? Brook says, I made it out of glass bottle and some wires. It sounds good, right? And Reuven says it does have a freeing vibe to it, I guess. So Brook's always been in tune with freedom. He's always been in tune with the sun god. But Brook says he's seen Prince Reuven around before, and he says, are you a fan, mister? And Reuven says, don't call me mister. I'm only 21 years old. And then Brook says, say what? You got an old face. You look like you've had it rougher than than most. So I don't know what the deal is with Reuven here. I'm assuming it might be due to the king, and like the king is being a bad king or something, and Reuven is having to deal with that. That could be what's going on. But it seems like Reuven's like stressed out. I feel like that's why he seems older. That's why Oda's bringing it up, is because Reuven's stressed out. But then Brook, as a token of his friendship with Reuven, he says, I'll treat you, big bro. I caught some grasshoppers and frogs today, and he cooks him like a little stew. But Brook says the secret ingredient is curry powder. I steal some from the naval ships that occasionally come here. He says it makes anything taste like curry, though I guess that's not much of a secret now, huh? So Brook has been stealing from the Navy ships and has been stealing spices, which he's been using to basically get by off of eating fucking frogs. But then Reuven looks down at the ship meal and he's reminiscing about all of the good food that he gets to eat in the kingdom, all of the good food he gets to eat in the palace, and he's reminiscing about Lady Candel. She's some fucking young lady from some conglomerate, and she's basically being, courted to him. Candel in this situation reminds me of Estrid from the, Herald flashback. It feels like this is a fucking plant that's just like getting attached to Reuven so that at some point Candel can take the throne. Or at least like Candel is there to influence the kingdom. But then Reuven starts crying and he says, I can't believe I'm still in Asperia. So he's like, I can't believe I'm in the same country where I'm eating all this good food, getting this baddie, and Brook's out here eating fucking frogs in the junkyard. He eats the food and he almost fucking explodes because of how terrible it is. And Brook says, it's so good that you're convulsing. And then Brook says, I told you it's my treat. Don't fork over your cash. We're both going through hard times. So Brook doesn't even want money for this excellent meal that he just whipped up. So I think he's just proved himself to Reuven, and we can just see kind of a flashback of him and Reuven just kind of becoming friends, more so like a father and son type of dynamic. So we can see that there's a marine escort ship pulled up to the port of Asperia, and they're looking for this courier and this cargo, specifically this powder, and they think that Brook has it. They have him tied up. Brook has been taking the curry powder from the naval ships, and they're basically misunderstanding that Brook is the one taking this powder. They think he's the courier, but it's just Brook starts singing because he thinks he's about to die. The Marines are almost about to kill him, and Prince Reuven busts through the door. The prince runs to Brook and he hugs him, and we can see that apparently the Royal Guard Corps of Asperia, they basically apprehended the dealers from the Moron family, which was the gangsters that we saw in the last chapter, and they've confiscated the illegal drugs and arrested their courier. And the Marines are like, oh, this kid really had nothing but curry powder. But then the Royal Corps are like, please restrain your personal anger. The Navy has the backing of the world government behind it. And the prince is like, if the government is going to shield scum like this, then our world is doomed. Isn't that right, Candel? And Candel says, I am nothing more than your devoted steel blade. I'll always fight by your side. This is why I think Candel's an op. This is literally like the God's Knights talking about Emu. Devoted steel blade. You're the steel blade. You're the blade of the Holy Knights. Whatever the fuck. She is a plant in order to be there to manipulate Reuven. But we can see Prince Reuven and Candel, they just bust through all the marine shit. And Brook's like, he's a swordsman. That's so cool. So this must be the inspiration for why Brook wanted to pick up the sword. We can see all the town folks are all gooning over Candel. Oh, she saved our country again. This is what I think. I think Candel is a plant to gain the favorability of the country so that if Reuven has to go down, then Candel can take it over. But we can see Brook got taken to the palace, and we can see he's getting treated for his wounds. But we can see Reuven is letting Brook know that he was a prince. So apparently Brook didn't know this entire time, and he just wanted to be Reuven's friend because he actually liked him. So it had nothing to do with him trying to get his clout, whatever the hell. But Candel goes and taps on Brook, and she says, I never would have guessed that you were spending your free time with such a cute little friend. And Brook's nose just explodes. So this might have been where Brook like got his whole complex for loving women. I wonder where he got his panty complex. But then Reuven says, anyway, tell everyone this kid is my favorite musician. Get him a room in the barracks and give him a proper musical instrument and arrange for him to attend school. A new star is about to be born in Asperia. So Reuven is basically putting all his stocks in Brook. He's letting him live at the castle now. He's going to make him a musician. He's going to get him into school. Reuven is essentially becoming Brook's father and giving him the chance that he never had. Reuven says, I love this kid, and from now on, this palace is going to be a lot more fun. And we can see Brook is just crying. I love this flashback, dude. This is awesome. Oda has made me love Prince Reuven in a chapter. I thought he was a super bum last chapter. And now that I think about it, why is Reuven such a bum in current time? This is what I mean, is Reuven looks a lot better here, but we can already see the start of him being stressed out and going downhill. I really love this chapter. I hope you guys did as well. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. That's all I got for today. See ya.